Imagine a classroom, but not just any classroom. This one doesn't have boring textbooks or dusty blackboards. Instead, the walls melt away and you're standing in ancient Rome, feeling the cobblestones under your feet, hearing the roar of the Colosseum. What if history wasn't something you read, but something you lived, breathed, and experienced with every single one of your senses? This isn't science fiction. It's the dawning reality of immersive history, a radical new way of understanding our past. But how exactly does this bewildering technology work? And what are the hidden implications of rewriting how we perceive history itself? To truly grasp the power of immersive history, we need to understand its fundamental premise, the complete dissolution of the barrier between observer and observed. For centuries, history has been a narrative, a series of recounted events passed down through texts, images, and oral traditions. We learn about battles, empires, and revolutions, but always from a distance, through the lens of another's interpretation. Immersive history shatters this passive consumption. It's an active, visceral engagement that transplants you directly into the past, not as a spectator, but as an almost participant. Think beyond virtual reality tours. This isn't just seeing 3D models of historical sites. This is about total sensory immersion, where the sounds, sights, smells, and even the ambient temperatures of a distinct historical period are meticulously recreated. It's about feeling the grit of desert sand under your sandals as you walk through an ancient Egyptian market or smelling the wood smoke and damp earth of a Viking longhouse. This isn't just about entertainment. Advocates believe it's the key to a deeper, more empathetic understanding of human experience. But such a monumental leap in historical understanding doesn't come without profound questions about authenticity, interpretation, and the very fabric of our shared reality. The mechanics behind this simulated time travel are complex, drawing on cutting-edge advancements across numerous fields. At its core, immersive history relies heavily on hyper-realistic virtual and augmented reality systems, far beyond what we experience today. Picture full-body haptic suits that can simulate the pressure of a handshake, the chill of a winter breeze, or the impact of a spear. Imagine olfactory emitters synchronized with the visual experience, releasing precise chemical compounds to reproduce the scent of freshly baked bread in a medieval bakery or the acrid smell of gunpowder on a battlefield. Beyond individual sensory input, environmental simulators control temperature, humidity, and even subtle vibrations, making the experience indistinguishable from reality. The data to construct these intricate historical simulations comes from an unprecedented synthesis of archaeological findings, historical documents, geological records, and even climate modeling. AI algorithms are then employed to fill in the gaps, extrapolating details from available evidence to create a seamless, living world. But herein lies the first profound challenge. How much of this rich detail is verifiable fact, and how much is educated conjecture? When you're walking through a reconstructed Roman villa, are the conversations you overhear word-for-word transcripts from ancient scrolls? Or are they AI-generated dialogues based on linguistic patterns and social conventions? The line between historical fact and simulated experience becomes perilously thin, inviting questions of manipulation and bias. Furthermore, the sheer computational power required to render these hyper-realistic, interactive historical environments is astronomical, pushing the boundaries of current technology. We're talking about processing entire historical ecosystems, with thousands of individual elements all interacting dynamically. The data sets alone would be petabytes in size, compiled from centuries of fragmented information. Imagine the energy consumption, the infrastructure required, and what about the psychological impact on users? Disorientation, historical trauma, or even a blurring of the lines between past and present could become very real concerns. This isn't just a technological marvel, it's a Pandora's box of philosophical and ethical dilemmas. Let's delve into a hypothetical scenario, a tangible example of immersive history's unsettling power. Consider the Battle of Thermopylae, 480 BC, where a small band of Spartans famously held off a massive Persian army. Traditional accounts describe a heroic last stand, a noble sacrifice against overwhelming odds. Now imagine stepping into that pass. You're not a detached observer. You're there. You feel the crush of bodies, the sun glinting off bronze shields, the dust mixing with sweat and blood. You hear the guttural cries of soldiers, the clang of steel, the desperate pleas. But then, as you move through the simulation, your senses register something unsettling, a subtle, almost imperceptible detail. You notice not just the Spartan phalanx, but a small secondary group of Greek-speaking individuals, not clearly identified in historical records, moving with a peculiar, almost prearranged coordination behind the main Persian lines. They're not fighting, but observing, communicating through a series of hand gestures, almost like signals. As the battle rages, you see one of them, under the cover of the chaos, subtly adjust a marker on a rock face, a marker that seems to be part of the very path Ephialtes, the betrayer, famously used to lead the Persians around the pass. This minor detail, unearthed by the immersive history system's ability to render every facet of the environment, suggests a chilling new interpretation. Perhaps Ephialtes wasn't merely a solitary trader, but part of a small, organized faction, working in coordination with a rival Greek city-state, not just for personal gain, but for a deeper political motive deliberately omitted from official accounts. The system, cross-referencing this visual anomaly with previously overlooked fragments of pottery found near the pass, fragments bearing unusual insignia, begins to generate a probabilistic scenario, a deeper intertwined conspiracy that conventional historiography, reliant on surviving texts, simply could not uncover. This isn't just about experiencing history, it's about rewriting it, discovering hidden layers of truth that have been buried for millennia. The experience is visceral, the revelation profound, yet deeply unsettling. It forces you to question everything you thought you knew, demonstrating how our collective memory, passed down through generations, could be fundamentally flawed, tainted by intentional omissions or the simple inability of past chroniclers to capture every detail. To this day, the true implications of immersive history remain a subject of fervent debate. Will it democratize historical understanding, making the past accessible and tangible to everyone, fostering unprecedented empathy across cultures and time periods? Or will it become a tool for manipulation, a means to present curated, potentially biased narratives under the guise of objective experience? The power to custom-build historical realities is immense, and in the wrong hands, it could be used to propagate misinformation on an unprecedented scale, shaping future generations' understanding with unnerving precision. Imagine an authoritarian regime using immersive history to rewrite the past in their favor, creating experiences where their actions are always justified, their enemies always villainous. The question then becomes, who controls the data? Who verifies the authenticity of these deep history simulations? Scholars and ethicists are grappling with these challenges, recognizing that while the potential for profound positive impact is undeniable, the risks are equally monumental. We stand on the precipice of an era where history is no longer a static record, but a living, breathing, interactive world. The greatest mystery might not be what immersive history reveals about the past, but what it ultimately reveals about ourselves and our capacity to both construct and deconstruct the truth. If you're intrigued by how technology blurs the lines of reality, you might also be fascinated by the next video, which delves into the strange world of generative AI and its impact on artistic authenticity.